I'm sure all of you have seen the balls-to-the-wall 8K gaming setup that we created just a few months ago. And I'm also sure that you thought there was no way that we could Michael Bay that. Well, you were wrong. Very, 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 very wrong. Meet the 16K gaming desk that we'll be building over the course of this video. 132,710,400 pixels of pure f***ing awesome. So in theory, 16K gaming is an insane idea, but in practice, well, it's even more insane than it is in theory. The original concept was actually to mount everything by straight up buying 16 monitor wall arms off the shelf, bolting some plywood to the warehouse wall, and just raw dogging it. But I think we all know how that would have ended up. Conveniently, Jake has been on a seemingly unending desk PC bender and forwarded me some info about yet another enthusiast desk PC that even puts the Lian Li DK04 to shame, the IC table. It's massive, modular, 3D print customizable, and not to mention, it is stuffed with gamery beauty. But with 16 of Acer's 4K IPS G-Sync gaming monitors in the mail, we had to act fast. So Jake shot an email over to the guys at IC Table like, "Yo dog, so is there a model of the IC Table that could be used with a 4x4 grid of monitors?" And they were like, "No, that's insane fam, we're in." And after about 80 emails back and forth, we were ready to move forward. Not only did the renders of the project look jaw-dropping, but the IC Table guys, being familiar with our content, offered to personally drive the massive custom desk all the way up from Los Angeles to Vancouver and assemble it for us in our studio, presumably to keep it from being dropped.
You can get the $100 silent edition. That's all right, it's the only one we own.
Now typically, the IC Table comes in a lot more pieces than we received, but to save on time, the Siberian Cyber guys did some pre-assembly. And saving on time was important because, as you can imagine, mounting and aligning 16 monitors takes just a little bit of time. But I'll come back to that later. So we started off with the two large legs of the desk that each contain a modular drawer that houses a computer, cooling, storage, or really anything you want. We went with a computer on the left and actually not much on the other side. We just sort of stuffed cables in there. Moving on. The bottom cable routing tray got screwed in, followed by the upper one. Then things started to get really exciting. They whipped out the King of the Net, or T-Con, as they call it for short. This is their modular system cage, kind of like the skeleton of a typical case, and it can hold up to an eATX board, quad dual slot GPUs, multiple SSDs, the works. So on our first attempt, we equipped it with an Asus Maximum 8 Extreme Assembly with a 7700K. But we actually ended up running into PCI Express lane limitations. So we brought out the big guns. A Rampage 5 Edition 10 with a 6900K, 32 gigs of Corsair LPX DDR4 memory, a Noctua NHD 15, and the most important part of this build, the 4 Quadro P5000 graphics cards graciously provided by NVIDIA, coupled with their Quadro Sync 2 card. This is the secret sauce that will enable us to use all of these monitors as a single screen with a technology that NVIDIA calls Mosaic. Powering all of this is Corsair's behemoth AX1500i, with stock cables for now. except for a single PCIe power that definitely didn't ship separately because Jake screwed up our cable mod order. Anyway, with our system built twice, it's time to focus on the monitors. Step 1, affix the 4 crossbeams that will each hold 4 of our screens. The IC table guys actually repurposed some flat mount TV wall brackets on the back of the desk for structural support and to help us route the 32 cables necessary for all of the panels. But before we can even get to cabling, we need to unbox and mount some monitors. Each 27-inch 4K gaming display gets its own super beefy 3-axis VESA arm that can also tilt and rotate. Each of them must weigh about 5 pounds. But I guess I shouldn't be complaining about solid build quality. This was no doubt the longest part of the process, but we finally managed to get all of them mounted before the end of the day and finished off by sliding the T-Con into its drawer. We can mostly ignore the fact that most of the monitors needed to be taken off one by one to align the mounts. The IC table guys, I gotta give them props. They assure me they've never built a desk on this scale before, but the straight precision made it seem like they've done it 1,000 times. Time to power it on now then, right? Well, it was about that time that we realized that several of our displays were locked to 1024 by 768 resolution, a far cry from 4K, and some of them weren't lighting up at all. Well, our generic 25-foot DisplayPort cables seem to be the culprit, and until new ones arrive, we are stuck at a dead end. So here is where the project stands. Literally stands, like 10 feet tall. So stay tuned for our final tour of the finished setup after what hopefully won't be a month of troubleshooting in part 2. So thanks for watching, guys. If you disliked this video, hit that dislike button. But if you liked it, hit the like button, get subscribed, maybe consider checking out where to buy the stuff we featured at the link in the video description. Also down there is our merch store, which has cool shirts like this one, and our community forum, which you should totally join.